Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Kennel mini-episode, we're going to basically be looking at two stories today, folks, in which very weird, bizarre things happen. In the first story, this soldier and his comrade see these men that look like complete doppelgangers of each other, and in the next story, we're going to look at a Bigfoot account. Either way, let's read this article first. Experiencer details their mirrored men encounter. Let's get into it now, folks. When they walked past us, it was trippy. All three of the men were the same height, 6'7" or so, all unison, not a step out of place nor arm, and saying something in some foreign language. I was in the woods of Southern California. I was in the middle of a training session when I was told to stay off the road. Okay, cool, I said about 2 o'clock a.m. Me and my partner are moving to another spot when I spot three people walking on the road. I immediately told them to hold and we moved into the shadows. What we saw was very unusual. The beings or men were the same exact height, moving at the same exact speed, with the same exact step and arm swing. I wasn't scared, but was like, WTF? I asked some others later on, and a couple of guys said they saw the same, and it was weird to them too. Now, folks, from the sound of it, it sounds like these people were doppelgangers, but this is unusual for a doppelganger account because usually it's some guy seeing another person that looks exactly like themselves. Here, it's like we're seeing clones of the same people and clones that have been programmed like robots almost. Either way, let's get back to the account now. It was in July. We were on a navigation night exercise, one of my favorites because they're high speed and thrilling. There's a group of us doing this evolution. We split off into twos. Woods at night can play tricks on your mind really easily, but my partner and I have laser-like focus, so we're not spooked by this. Hours go on as we make our way to checkpoints. Our last checkpoint was hard and very far. It took forever and we thought we were lost, so we had to recheck our map to see where we were at. We used the moon's light to gather our exact whereabouts. Well, best lighting is by the road, so we went by it. That's when I saw in the distance three things, people or whatever, walking on the road. I told my partner to dip off into the shadows so they couldn't see us. When they walked past us, it was trippy. All three of the men were the same height, 6'7" or so, all unison, not a step out of place nor arm, and saying something in some foreign language. It was weird, and my thoughts were, these instructors need civilization. These fools are tripping. I asked my nav partner, like, WTF, and shrugged it off. We finally made it to the last checkpoint. Others were there, and I asked around about any tall instructors around. Everyone said no. Two dudes walked up to me and said they saw some dudes walking perfectly together, and they dove into some bushes before they got near. They said it looked trippy too. I don't know, man. It was wild bee. What can I say, folks? This really feels like maybe an alien encounter, and that these, men might have been some sort of bio-androids, much like people say that the great aliens are, especially with the fact that they looked exactly the same. And the fact that this sighting took place during a, military exercise makes me think that maybe these aliens were there, maybe trying to study this, military exercise itself. Now, everyone, we're going to look at the Bigfoot account now. It looks very interesting to me because it takes place in the middle of the country where I think maybe some people have said they've seen Bigfoot, but it's not like, that this sighting took place somewhere like, Yellowstone National Park, where you'd think people would see Bigfoot, folks. No, this took place in the middle of the country. In this article titled, Was It Bigfoot? Screaming, Tall Hairy Creature Seen in Northeast Missouri. We'll hear all about this account of these people or witnesses encountering Bigfoot in Missouri, folks. So let's get into it now and hear exactly what these people saw. Whatever it walked on two legs and was about 8 to 9 feet tall, covered in dark hair. It saw us and turned toward the direction of my uncle, which is when I started crying. Here's a little background before I share my story. I was about 8 to 9. I'm 35 now. My dad, Uncle Brad, and their friend Henry and I all went out on a hunting trip. Where we were that day we called the Bluff. It is located northeast Missouri. The lay of the area is as follows. There is a ridge that runs along a river. Along the river are trees, and the area is relatively flat for a few feet before the land shoots up at a steep angle, creating the ridge. The trees there are thick and is difficult walking for a person. At the top of the ridge is a dirt trail that we ride ARCs on while hunting. On this day, we had dropped Henry off at the river, and my uncle, father, and I were going to go up to the top of the ridge The plan was for Henry to walk along the river and run a deer over to one of us on the top of the ridge. When he reached where he was, even with us, he would turn and go back to the drop-off, and we would meet him to pick him up. My uncle left my dad and me in one spot on the road, and he went up a bit further and took his place. Things were normal, and we could hear Henry coming up the river at the bottom for a while before he came into view. My dad signaled that Uncle Brad was still a way down the road, and we waited. Out of nowhere, there was a scream that was unlike any I had heard even to this day. There was the sound of something huge tearing through the brush up the ridge side, and my dad grabbed my arm and pulled me to him. We both assumed it was a bear. Whatever it was walked on two legs and was about 8 to 9 feet tall, covered in dark hair. It saw us and turned toward the direction of my uncle, which is when I started crying, being both equally scared for our lives, confused at what I had seen, and scared for my uncle. There was a gunshot, another scream, and then my uncle sprinting up the road to us. To this day, my uncle and Henry refuse to go to the ridge or the river. I still am unsure of what we saw. We don't talk about it because we don't want to be ridiculed. But the thing I can say for sure, I've been in the woods my entire life and haven't seen anything close to that since. And just a side note, there were some Bigfoot hunters who showed up a few months back and camped in those same woods for about 2 weeks. Not sure what spurred that, but I always wonder if that's really what I saw you. Okay, folks, do you think that you here and his uncle and father actually saw Bigfoot, folks? Or do you think it's possible that it could have been maybe a dog man? Now, some people have said that, well, dog man can't possibly exist, and these are people sometimes who believe in Bigfoot but won't believe in something like Dogman. Do you think that this entity was a Bigfoot, though, or was it something else entirely? Maybe a guy in a ghillie suit? From the descriptions, I kind of doubt it, because I think, well, as they said in the article, the uncle shot at this creature, or in his panic, he let off a gunshot at the very least, folks, and this guy, and if it was a guy in a suit, he didn't flinch at all, it sounds like. No, it sounds like this creature chased these people out of its woods because it hated that these hunters were in there with him. And from the sound of the account, folks, Yu's story nicely corroborates other Bigfoot stories I've read before, folks, in which this Bigfoot, seemingly enraged by the presence of humans, as I just mentioned, folks, seemingly tries to force people out of his woods. Either way, folks, it was either this or perhaps maybe this entity feared that these people were going to take its food source away. I mean, they were hunting deer after all, and maybe it's been noted that Bigfoot eat deer and this entity did not want to share. It would make sense. Either way, folks, what do you make of this account? Do you think it's indeed real? And what about the account with the 2 or 3 mirrored doppelgangers that those soldiers saw, folks? Indeed, these accounts are very strange and they get weirder all the time. But indeed, folks, with the mirrored entities, they could have been some sort of alien entities, perhaps bioandroids. As I said earlier in the video, that these entities these soldiers saw were some sort of artificial beings. It would explain why they looked exactly alike. But why were these entities so blatantly obvious about it? I mean, anyone with any sense could see that these 3 entities acting exactly alike was not normal. Indeed, anyone would see that. And these soldiers clearly saw that as well. And why were they in the same area as these military exercises were taking place? I don't know. All I can say, much like the Missouri Bigfoot encounter we just read, folks, these things happen. Sadly, usually we don't get any real evidence beyond basically people seeing these things, folks, which is what we have here. But remember, folks, when these people ended their stories, you get the sense that these people were genuinely telling the truth about what they saw. So I do think maybe their stories are real. But folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics that are bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. There are other links to Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, or BitChute, Dark Sayings, Robot Co-op, and stitched together pics. And remember, I upload exclusive videos to Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, or BitChute that I do not upload to YouTube. If you want to see them, use those links down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to my channels on those websites. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.